my word. Listen, it's almost level 2. Pastors, leaders, it's almost level 2. If your church doesn't start like that when we hit level 2, don't invite me. If your intro song before the service begins isn't Lodge, 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 or whatever the banger is. Yeah, I'm taking it too far. But don't invite me. Current, relevant, culture shifting type music. Some of you guys are still listening to IPCC. Let's get it together. Everybody, welcome to TK Chats. It's me, TK. Now, before we continue, please remember to hit the subscribe button and we are going to get straight into it. Have you ever thought about the things that frustrate you in going to church? And I've been thinking about it for a few weeks or for some time now. There's certain things that frustrate me as a believer, as a Christian when it comes to visiting or being in a church. And I'm going to go through it with you guys. I've got a few points. I asked a few friends over WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook to tell me what things frustrate you when it comes to going to a church. I'm going to get into it right now. Number 1, don't invite me to your church if your music doesn't bang. Kanye West is killing the game. He's got his foot on everybody's necks. And I'm not saying Hillsong, Willie McDowell, Israel, all these people aren't doing it. I'm just saying, there's a guy who is fresh out and the sound, you can feel the soul in the music. And I've heard people come up to me and say, but TK, are you sure this is real? Are you sure he's not acting? Quick question, whether he's acting or not, when was the last time you got 2,000 people saved? When I used to hate going to church. Oh man, I hated going to church as a kid. My dad always forced us. As a family, we're going to church. And the service was so long. It was deadly long. He invited me to a church that he was falling asleep in. Why would you do that? This is like phase 0 of abuse. You want us to go to church. You're sleeping in the service you want me to sit in. Nah. And then on top of that, you invite the pastor to our house. Guys. So eventually when I went to a church I really enjoyed, the first thing that caught me when I went to the church was the music. I walked in and I was like, would you guys actually clap your hands? Okay. And there was a band on stage and I could hear the music. It was no longer just that book. You know that book that every black church has, zoop, zoop, zoop. It's nice, but when you're a kid and you are very impressive or impressionable, whatever the word is, and you're seeing the band go off and you're hearing the vocals, that's what pulled me in. I was like, damn, I will be here every Sunday. And there was other things, like they served cookies and coffee at the end of the service. Like, man, this church today, music was dope. I get to eat, and so please, your music, your worship leaders, please sing and actually sing. Don't come and be off pitch. Don't vibrate when there's no need to vibrate. Don't confuse us. Prepare the room, people. Don't invite me to your church if your services are too long. Why are we here? Why did your sermon start at 9 and you only finish at 1? Aren't you out of breath, sir? How does your breath smell? I've got so many questions for people who speak for hours. Like, your back must be tired right now. Guys, get to the point. Be as short as the pastors. Be as short as the messages you send to your congregants. Don't invite me to your church if I have to speak to my neighbor every 5 minutes. I agree. Tell your neighbor. Why? I'm listening to you. Matter of fact, personally, I know I'm one of these guys. Every time the pastor says, can I get an amen? Oh, amen. I'm listening to your sermon, sir. Come on. Why am I saying amen? I'm just trying to get it first, understand what God's trying to deal with me in, and move on and grow from that. Come on, people. I don't want to talk all the time. Tell your neighbor, tomorrow's Sunday. Yes, we know. For the whole day. Okay. Too far. Stop it. Don't invite me to your church if being single is a curse. Don't play matchmaker. Let God be God. Let God be God. They will find each other if they need to find each other. You trying to play chess and position everyone. Don't position people. We're not here to control. We're not a cult. We're a church. Stop it. Don't invite me to church if the offering segment is an auction. I've been to churches where the pastor is so good when it comes to the money segment. He is brilliant. God is saying deep down in your heart, you have to sow 1,000 rand. And there you are in the seat. Oh, it's my wallet. Oh. And you sow your 1,000 rand. And he continues. God is saying, I'm proud of you, sir. But that's not good enough. Why? Why do you guys do this? Now we're bleeding from rocks. Guys, stop it. Yeah, no, I speak on behalf of us all. Stop it. Get to the point. We understand the purpose and the goal and the blessing in giving. But don't bleed us dry, guys. Don't bleed us dry. Come on. You guys took a really sharp turn. Don't invite me to your church if the pastor wants to see me in private. Listen, actually, please put in the comments below if you had an experience like that where you felt like this is weird. Why does he want to see me? I just came here for the first time. What could you possibly want to say to me and you felt uncomfortable? Please put your story in the comments below. I want to try and understand because I would like to believe that the goal of a pastor is to guard the people of the church, look after the people of the church, and have their best interests at heart. And sometimes we can get it wrong as a church. And I say we as a church, generally as a collective. I'm not speaking to an institution or to an organization. I'm speaking about everybody. Yeah, I personally don't know of any stories that have gone wrong where you as a visitor are visiting a church and the pastor sees you in private and it's really weird. But if you have a story, I'm curious to hear. And I don't necessarily know if I can help, but I would add my 2 cents to the conversation. Don't invite me to your church if they emphasize behavior over relationship. I already know how to behave and still struggle to do what I know. I kind of get that. When how someone must conduct themselves over the relationship they need to have, forgetting that the relationship will influence the behavior, but they think, no, if you change your behavior, it will influence the relationship. No, relationship influences behavior, and that's how you form the culture of a really good and amazing church, an experiential church. But I must say, if I have to be open and honest, with certain church frustrations. One of my personal frustrations, or one of my very big frustrations, is when the church doesn't really play its role in the communities and lead from the front. Let me start by saying this. If you read the book of Ephesians chapter 1, you find Paul, the Apostle Paul, addressing the church, and in one of the verses he says, "Church, don't you get it? The church doesn't come second to the world comes second to the church." William McDowell says, re-explains that whole verse nicely. He says, it's not about a city that has a church, but it's about a church in the center of a city. That explains it. As a church, you shift and influence culture. When things are wrong, you stand for humanity, not your congregation. And I'm saying this to say one of my biggest frustrations as a church collectively is how we've been pathetic in our leadership, our influence, our behavior, and our caring for humanity. The voice of Black Lives Matter is getting louder and louder and louder, and the church only joined months or weeks after. Now, I understand in a lot of countries, if you read the history of how church was, and you read some black pastors in America, when you read their past story, how hard it was to become a pastor, how pastors or theology schools themselves try to put down black people, I do understand where they're coming from and why there's such a long setback. But if the church is taking so long to lead from the front, what the hell are we doing, guys? We're supposed to be leading the Black Lives Matter March. And the Black Lives Matter March is probably just the tip of the iceberg right now. In South Africa, we've got the GBV epidemic, gender-based violence, and our men, we are really doing harm to ourselves and harm especially to our ladies who we're supposed to be caring and looking after and respecting as individuals. Cases are now coming out where women have been brutally abused or raped or murdered. Matter of fact, stats have now changed, and now they say the stat that just got released is every 16 seconds, a lady is probably bound to be raped or murdered. That's how bad it's gone. And When I do research, when I check social media, I get really concerned when I see only one, two, or no churches saying anything. Yes, you can put a hashtag up, stop GBV and whatever, but is that enough? As the church, what should we be doing? Now, if you're a pastor or a leader or someone involved in churches, my question is, yo, churches, pastors, where are your therapists? Yes, God heals the heart. God heals the mind. But there's some stuff that will take time where a therapist is also designed by God to deal with things like that. We've got some brilliant faith-based doctors like Dr. Caroline Leaf, who said really amazing things. Now, I'm sure we can have therapists like that who can help deal with heart issues, help deal with issues of the mind. But I'm wondering, yo, pastors, you're supposed to be putting out on blast. If you need a therapist, our church will provide free counseling sessions for the next month or for the next year. It's getting out of hand. And I'm wondering, is the church sleeping dead or waiting for a Sunday service to say, yo, we will do this? Why are you waiting for a Sunday? This is an everyday issue. Oh, man. Time and time again, throughout the Bible, you read about churches that shift culture. God uses Moses to address the government of Egypt. God uses Paul to address certain governments. Then you read about the church that is born multiracial. So many issues get addressed under the presence of God. I love it. It's beautiful. This is the church you read about in the Bible. But it bothers me to see that our church today is sleeping. We're not the church that shifts culture. We're not the church that says, hey, yo, Mr. President, I got a proposal. This is what we need to do as a people. You know what? Let me be a bit more, this might be controversial, and I know some of you guys are going to disagree hard. We, in the middle of June, June is known to be Pride Month for the LGBTQ plus community. Why is the church not in support of the people? Listen to me. This is why I'm asking this. I know in our religious minds we go, no, we can't support the LGBTQ because they are not straight or they don't agree with our principles. Now you wonder why they don't want to be in your church because you judge them before you even heard them. Listen, as a church, as a pastor, as a believer, your goal is to guard humanity, not guard your congregation. If you're just caring for your little 500 to 1,000 people, it will die soon because you don't care about your humanity. You care about fulfilling your agendas. Our role is not to address people's mistakes, sins, flaws, decisions. That's not us. God does the work. I know in my own personal life, I had really weird addictions or struggles in my teenage years, and I didn't need a pastor or a cell leader or a leader in the church to tell me stop doing that. As my leader taught me how to have my own relationship with God, God himself started taking things out. He started taking and sorting out the weaknesses and addictions. And it's like a sculptor. It's like a sculptor when he has the block of wood or ice or stone, he already sees the finished product. His mind's already at the end product. And the only way he can get there is he decides what he needs to take out. Now, we are not God. That's not our role. So my concern is the church that's supposed to be shifting culture in today's world still sleeping? Or are we ready to wake up and do something that really changes the world? And then we like to say slogans like Jesus chilled with the sinners. Yes, I agree 100%. So with that being said, I would like to know, pastor, leader, Christian, believer, if there was a march, if there was an LGBTQ march, would you be in the march with them? Because you'll have more of an impact when you're in, around, and among instead of speaking at a group of people. What things frustrate you about the modern day church today? Don't invite me to your church if. Like, put it in the comments below. I want to laugh with you. I want to share with you. I want to feel with you. But on a deeper note, where have we been slipping as a church? What do we need to change? I was part of a church, a really great church. And I used to be very involved. I used to do the videos for them. And we had to do a youth conference. And in the youth conference, there was youth conference that came up. Now I sat with the person who leads the youth movement, really cool guy. We used to be friends as kids and whatever. So we said things like, "Yo, TK, we need an advert." I was like, "Yeah, no, we need an advert. What's the theme of this conference?" And we struggled to think for a moment. Um, by the way, this was the year when the fees must fall movement started in South Africa. For those of you guys watching in South Africa, if you're not in South Africa, there is a fees must fall movement, which is about freeing tertiary fees for people to be awarded. When I say awarded, for people to be given the opportunity to study. Um, Really great movement. It was during that time, and the guy who leads the movement was like, "TK, let's call the conference We Must Rise." And from there, the ideas hit the ideas hit me so hard. We were talking like, yeah, that's maybe what we should do. And the slogan was, "When everything must fall, we must rise." At the time, especially on Twitter, you could see the president must fall, fees must fall, everyone was falling. Even today, you go on Twitter, people are still falling. But that year, we were like, when everything must fall, we must rise. And for that moment, it felt like that's exactly what the church is supposed to be. Regardless of what we stand for, our agenda, our goal, our mission statement, we should stand for the humanity and progress of all human beings, not just your congregation that will soon die to zero if you don't really look after the common goal, the common cause, which is the fight for humanity. I love what we like to say. At the foot of the cross, the ground is equal. So if you're prioritizing your congregation over humanity as a whole, I question the agenda of your actual church. Do you really care about the people, or do you just care about the people who are feeding you? And that's my take. I maybe am out of line somewhere and I'm ready to learn and I want to hear from you. Please put in the comments below. Please remember to like, comment, share. This is a whole conversation. It's a debate. I want to learn. I'm a sponge. I want to learn and hear from you. And for those guys wondering, yes, I still love Jesus. Yes, I'm still saved. But I'm seeing through a different lens right now. And I'm wondering, where is the church that's supposed to be shifting culture? Why do we only have one Lecrae, one Kirk Franklin, and I don't know who else is doing something that's really major? But those are the only two people I can shout out. That the people that the church rejected is now the people that the world looks at for hope. Because why? We're sleeping as a church. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching TK Chats. When you find your voice, don't give it away.